Alright, so once you have your two pattern pieces completely pinned, before you cut, please check with me before you cut, because cutting, if you cut incorrectly, there's no way of going back. So get your approval. Okay, so once you have my approval, then you can begin cutting. So you're going to grab your shears off the wall, and as you start to cut, you always want to cut away from yourself. So that means turning your fabric, okay, so that you can line your scissors up nicely in order to cut with the point of the scissors going away from you. Now, as I'm cutting, I'm taking nice, large cuts and turning the fabric as I need to. If you take nice, large cuts, what will happen is you will end up with a nicer edge rather than an edge that looks like this. So if you do really small cuts, sometimes this is what it starts to look like. And you can kind of see that edge sort of looks maybe like the dog chew the fabric. So instead of having the dog chew the fabric, you're going to use your shears taking nice, big snips. Make sure as you're cutting, your fabric is staying on the table, so you don't want to lift it up. And as you go around some of the curves will be a little bit more difficult. So take smaller cuts and move the pattern around as you cut. It's okay to cut a little ways away from the pattern. It's better to do that than to cut through the paper. So remember, anytime you're using fabric shears, you're not cutting any paper with them. If you accidentally cut the paper, okay, you are dulling the shears. And if you do that, then the next time you go to cut fabric, they will be a little bit, it'll be more difficult to cut your fabric. Right, so this piece here I've completely cut. My next step now is to remove all of my pins. Make sure they go directly back into a pincushion. Okay, once I have out all my pins, then I can just keep my layers together, okay, so they don't come apart. So what I'm going to do now, just in preparation for sewing, I'm just going to put one pin right into the center, all the way in, all the way out, and I'm going to keep these two pieces together. My pattern now, what I can do with this is I can put it back onto the pattern hook with the rest of the pattern pieces. And then the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to come and cut my back piece. So again, I'm going to do the exact same procedure. Just make sure that you're not going to cut through, okay, large pieces of fabric. Because remember, I cut carefully close against the front piece, and now when I open up this is all fabric that I can use later. So make sure you're cutting nice and close to your pattern, rather than cutting into what could be used as good fabric.